Hi guys, welcome to the flight today. We're going to be doing a test flight right now, so I'm going to be doing things with the sim and going to be in the background, that's why the chat's disabled. We'll be doing a live flight with it back on this evening, just need to do some testing with the bit rates and that behind the scenes with the Streamlabs. So I thought we'd do a flight from Manchester to Cologne Bonn with the PMDG 737-700. We have got the Phoenix, but 737 is what we do, so come and join, sit back and relax, enjoy the flight as we test the stream. If all goes well, then this evening we'll be up in full swing, ready to go. So don't forget to like and subscribe, leave your comments down below, and after this flight I'll see you this evening for the proper flight. I don't know what we're going to do yet. We'll do another flight, it'll be a real world flight. I don't know if it'll be from Manchester or whatnot, but we'll be in the 737-700 as well to do that also. So we'll get inside the cockpit, get the aircraft all set up. We're down in Manchester, we're going to be leaving out for 23 right, we're coming in for Cologne Bonn for 32 right, and we'll be doing the RMP approach. We've got the ILS, but we always do the ILS, so I thought we'd do something a little bit different. So get inside the cockpit, start the aircraft up, and get ready to go. So here we are in the cockpit of the 737-700, as we can see. I'm going to go overhead, get the battery on, pull the throttles back. For some reason I've got it set up for the outside view to zoom in. So we'll do our pre-flight procedures. I've got the checklist as well for afterwards for the pre-start and everything, so we'll get that all set in and ready to go. So sit back, relax guys, and get ready for a nice enjoyable flight. So we've got the battery on and guarded, standby power is guarded, and ground power is on, which is checked. I'm going to get one pump in and get the APU on as well. These flights that I do are sort of like tutorials as well as we go through everything, so if you want to know how to start the 737 up and operate it, then do stick around as we'll be going through everything step by step. So see the EGT now start to align. We've got the low pressure warming, and we'll see the EGT start to rise. Alarm the emergency exit lights, we'll get the chime on with the fasten seatbelt signs, light up the panels, go overhead, get the IRSs, 1 to nav, number 2 to nav, test the flaps, which are checked, test the flight recorder, which is also checked. Stalls will come on once the aircraft's up and running. Get the window heats all on, which will be checked. Reset fans to auto, get the packs to auto, isolation valves open, we'll get the APU bleed on as well. So we're going to be going for a flight level of 230. We've got a elevation down for 302 or 307. So I'll put 300 in, which will be checked for us. The APU is now ready to go. Put a logo on, anti-collision light will get on just before the aircraft's getting ready to leave. So we'll go over into the FMC, got all of our weights and everything all set up as well, so we'll get that all done and ready to go. So we're going from Echo Golf Charlie Charlie, go into next page, left GPS, punch that through, that'll get us down. There's the IRS all aligned and ready to go. So we're coming in for Echo Delta Delta Kilo, and on the departure we're going to be leaving out for runway 23 right, and we're leaving out on the Listo to Romeo. Now we've got all the charts here for the Navigraph as well, which is right here. We're going to be leaving out for runway 23 right, which is going to give us a 232 on the heading. Which is checked. Leaving out on the Listo, we're going to be leaving Manchester to 11355, we're leaving out runway heading, and then no turns below 760. We'll make a right hand turn onto the 162, which takes us to Listo for 5000. So we'll get Manchester's VOR in, which is 113.5, okay, which is checked. Get down on both sides, okay, which is also checked. From Listo, we're then going to carry on the routing, which I've got set. So let's get the route, and then we can input that into the FMC. So from Listo, which we're going to be taking through, go down to our routing. So from Listo, we're going to be taking the Lima 612. That's going to take us to Honley for the VOR. From Honley, we take the Lima 15 to Biggin. From Biggin we take the Yuma Lima Form 9, which will take us to DVR, so Delta Victor Romeo, which I think is Dover. Lima 9 to Conan. From Conan we've then got the Lima 607, which is going to take us to Lima November Oscar. The Mike 170, which will feed us to Kenham. Then from Kenham we've got the Tango 862. No, it was raining just before the weather reset itself, so it's not too bad now. Going to Depok. Then from Depok we're going to take the Depok 1 November. So there's the Depok 1 November. We're going to be coming in for the RMP, so the RNAV 432 right. We'll leave the transitions out, so we're going to be coming straight ahead. We'll activate that up, go in, request the perf, which will be set for us, and then we'll get the aircraft ready to go. For the takeoffs, I think we'll take a takeoff 1 maybe, as it is a 700. If it was the 800 then it wouldn't be so bad, but with the 700 it's a bit choppy on the performance, and it's very quick as well. So we'll load up the perf, get that all set. We're going to be going for 230. If we want to go any higher then we will. Cost index 18 on the flight plan. We've got cost index of 80, so we'll leave 18 there, which will be set for us. Cruise wind coming through. Just get that all up. So we've got 224 at 65. Yeah, we've got minus 54. Okay, trans altitude is going to be 6,000. Okay, which will be set. Takeoff limit. Takeoff 1. Climb 1 for takeoff. Take flaps 5. Center of gravity, we'll get that in. 131, 133 and a 139. So we get 139 plus 20, 159 for V2 plus 20. Okay, 139. We get the APU switched over, get all the pumps on, get the yaw dampers set, electric hydraulics can now be set and switched on. Switch over to the APU gen, bats all on and checked. Any collision lights can now go on, and we can now do our pre-flight checklist. So, transponder we'll set down to TA for now, which is checked. AS speed, which we've got set 139 for V2. Heading for the takeoff 232, which is checked. 5,000 feet, which is going to be initially. So we're going to take that all the way to Listo, which is checked. Yaw dampers checked. Window heats are on. Fly altitude set. Land altitude 300. Flight directors can be both set and checked on. LNAV and VNAV as required. Altimeter reference, we get the altimeter, so we get the QNH down for Manchester. Check out the weather. So the weather down, did say it had winds coming in 1016 for the QNH, so we'll switch that over. 1016 should be checked and cross-checked, which it is set. 27013, so we've got 13 knot winds coming out. And apart from that, that seems to be the aircraft fully set and ready to go. So I'm going to go to the ground services. We can release the ground power, release the stairs, and everything else. It should be all good to go. So we've got some lovely clouds in the vicinity, so you guys should enjoy the flight. Go into plan, can have a little look at the route. So on the route I'm going to take off, follow it all the way down as we go past Listo. Then as we roll in onto the arrival, we can see there that we're going to basically spin around and then come in for the runway. So it's actually going to be a spin round from Depok and then ride it all the way down into Rara. So Rarix will be the start of the descent, 8.4 nautical miles, glide path is going to be 3 degrees. Okay, so that's us now all set and ready to go. We'll just get the panel lights on. Not that we really need it as it is daytime, but if the stream goes all well, then I'll do a proper stream this evening for you guys as well. So chocks we just need to get rid of. Go ahead, can switch the packs off. Can ask for the pushback. Now with the pushback it's a little bit, it's like opposite, so turn nose wheel right. So I'm going to leave it there. Chocks can be removed, which will be done automatically, and we can start everything up.
Go ahead. We've been cleared for pushback and start. They want the tail to our left.
What's going on with the brake?
Roger that. Ready for pushback. Tail to the left. Release brake, please.
Well, I think the brake's released.
Brakes released.
Once brake can be set to RTO. Auto throttle can be armed. Okay, so packs are off. Go for engine number 2. CN2 start to increase now as engine number 2 fires up. All pressure will come to life. And again, 25% will inject fuel, and we'll see EGT start to increase. It's 23, 24, and 25. So fuel's in. EGT is now going to start to rise. Got a little bit of rain as we depart out. That lovely engine for number 2 come in, 58%, starter cut out will come over, which is checked.
Pushback complete. Parking brake set.
Now for some reason I don't know why the parking brake isn't working. That's since we've done the update.
Roger that. Ready to push. Tail to the left. Parking brakes off.
Okay, so I'm going to take the tug away. Hopefully that he leaves. Once he does that, get the ground on. So N2's increasing now. All pressure and temps will come to life.
Brakes released. Here we go.
Don't know what the tug's doing. 22, 3, 4, and 5. I'm just going to make sure as we get engine number 2 in, just make sure the tug does go. Okay, so the tug's gone now. Okay, which is fine for us. There's EGT coming in for engine number 1. 56% will get the starter cut out, switch back. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, which is all checked. Let engine number 1 stabilise just for a few moments, and then we can start our taxi out to 23 right. So we're going to take a left, line up off the hold, and then we'll be all set to go. Takeoff 1, which is going to give us 92.5. Probably could do with a takeoff 2, but either way, we'll just let that go. Okay, so switch over the buses, 1 and 2, go over to Gen 1, get the pitos for the probes, packs and go to auto, isolation valve auto, engine bleeds on, APU bleed off. We can now switch the APU off as well, engine start switch to continuous, and we'll go to our before taxi checklist. So before taxi checklist, generators 1 and 2 which are on and checked, probe heats which are on, wing anti-ice are off, engine anti-ice switch is off, packs are auto, isolation valves auto, APU bleed is off, APU's off, engine start switch to continuous, flaps set as required, so we're going to go for flaps 5, which will be checked, elevator trim which will be set for takeoff, so we'll go in and get that as well, so for takeoff 5.86. Which you'll say is checked. Flight controls, free and correct, recall, which is clear, and lower display unit, which will turn off. Okay, which is checked. Taxi lights on, runway tunnel flights as required. So that is us now ready to go. We'll go into Navigraph, just have a quick look on the taxi as we come through. So in for the taxi, basically going to swing around, we'll get out onto Juliet, then from Juliet we'll line up onto Mike. We've got a pretty long runway anyway, so we'll sign up onto Mike and come through. So everything's all ready to go now. Bring the control column over, go overhead, taxi lights can go on, which are checked. Parking brake should be released. Okay, now taxi on up to runway 23 right. PMDG 737 is really nice to fly. I'm not going to get the 700 as I'm not really feeling to pay just for a 600. I'll wait for the 800 to come in and then that'll be us, which should be really nice. I haven't really bothered with the 600 too much. I mean, in X-Plane 11 we had the 600, 700, but mainly flew the 800. Got around near about 3,000 hours now in the 737. Then we're going to take this left-hand turn, follow it down Juliet, and then we'll line on to Mike. So yeah, we're just doing a test flight right now. If everything goes well, then we'll live chat and everything will be on tonight, so we can interact with you guys. Just doing a few tests. Want to make sure the stream's going okay before we start doing everything proper. So just move on down. Follow it all the way down to Juliet, then we'll take Mike 1 for the departure. So here's Mike, ready for us to come on. Get the probes and strobes. Yeah, it should be checked. So, cabin crew, take your seats for departure. So runway tunnel flights can go on, everything else is set and checked. Basically an intersection. Okay, so landing lights are all on, LNAV can be armed, head and select to be pre-armed at 232, hold the brakes before we rock out, powering up to 45%, push forward on the column. Stabilised and toga. You can feel the wind kicking in. Airspeed alive. Check. Throttle hold. 100 neutral on the column. Rotate. Positive rate. Gear up. 1500 feet. We'll then start to accelerate. Hold V2 plus 20, which will be 159. Okay, gears up. As you leave lovely Manchester Airport. Okay, so there's our climb going into our left hand turn. Can start to accelerate up now, 220. Okay, which is in. Pass through 2,500 feet. Auto brake can be turned off, gear can be turned off as well. Runway tunnel flights can be checked. Okay, so speed check, flaps 1. Going to be coming down for 5,000 feet, so we'll get LNAV and VNAV in, and get the autopilot in as well. It's going to hold out 5,000, set out to 230. The restraint's going to be 5,000 feet. Okay, 23, speed check, flaps up. Go to 250 now on our speed. 5,000 we're going to hold. Once we leave 5,000 feet, then 6,000 is the transition, and we'll switch over to the standard QNH 1013. So we've got Honley coming up, which is 51 nautical miles, which is probably why we're going in for 230. That is 5,000 feet, which the aircraft's going to cruise along at. We see some lovely views outside, leaving Manchester. So we'll do after takeoff checklist. So we've got gears up and off, auto brake which is off, engine start switches which can be turned off, which are checked, gear positioned off, runway tunnel flights are off, and cabin lights as required. So after takeoff checklist is complete. See the aircraft's at 260. It's got a backwind of around 14 knots. I'm going to hold 5,000 till we hit Honley, and then from Honley we're then going to rise up to 230. As the flight plan's got 230, I was thinking, why is it so low? But yeah, 230 is what we're going to basically be riding for. So as you can see, the chat's disabled, guys. We're just testing out the stream, as I'm not going to be able to see the chat as much. Tonight we'll be doing another live stream, which will have the chat and everything in, providing that the live stream right now goes according to plan, which will be fine. And then we can do another flight. I don't know where we're going to fly to this evening, so it won't be in the UK. I might probably do Naples down to Corfu. That was a really nice flight. I did that in the Phoenix A320 last night. So let me know if you guys want to see that, which would be quite nice to see. So the aircraft now is going to start its climb up. 230 for Honley. as we get ready to blast out. So up to 230 we go. Ready to descend 4003. That's the only thing I don't like about the 700. It does go on a really rapid ascent, which I don't really like too much. It's not really my cup of tea. But apart from that, the aircraft's really nice to fly. So QNH is now. Can we switch back over? Sound of QNH, which is checked. Which is set cross-checked. Passing 8,003, 3,500 feet per minute on the climb as we now ride to Honley. So I'm just going to go through the... Actually, we'll let you guys see outside. It's a lovely views. 737. So some lovely views of the 737. I think the mic was actually turned off, so apologies for that, guys. I thought the mic was on. So that was my bad. So as we're now climbing up through 10,000 feet, we get the landing lights, which can be all turned off. We'll leave the passenger signs on just for a little while. Let's go up into climb 1 now, which is 92.9. 25 knot winds coming over from the right. As past through 11,000 feet. We're going up for flight level 230. So I did think the mic was on. I don't think it was, or it might have turned off. Who knows? So our arrival into lovely Cologne Bonn. So as we've got it just in, just monitoring everything, make sure everything's going all nice. So for Cologne Bonn, we're taking the Depok arrival. We're come through, we're going to Ravix as well, we're not using any transition today. So we'll come through from Depok for the 106, will be 16.7 nautical miles. That should be 5,000 feet. You can check that in. So Depok will be 2,000, about 21,000 as it comes down. So we'll just basically ride it all the way to Ravix. Ravix is for 3,000 feet. Then as we come on for the Arnev approach, from 3,000 feet, we're then going to start the descent at 8.3 nautical miles. We're also having the 112.15. Now on the Zibo mod, we used to get that pop up on here with the Arnev as the identifier, but I haven't really seen that when doing the Arnev approaches, so there was an update that I just put in today before flying the aircraft. So hopefully we get the identifier there, and then we can monitor down for our DME to distance reference. As we can see, 8 DME 2009, 7 DME 2590. I'm going to come inbound onto the 316. We've taken a 3-degree glide path, which we can confirm we've got in the FMC already set. So there's a 3-degree glide path, 8.3 to 8.4 DME and 2.97 coming down. So that is us. We've got the 316 coming in, and once we get our approach speeds in that, then we'll have our speed reference as well. Minimum 673 for 371, so we'll put 50 onto that, which will give us 723. So we don't fall underneath our minimums, and that'll be the aircraft basically all set up, ready to come in. You've got the LPV Cat 1. We're going to be doing LNAV and VNAV, running it down. So for the RNAV, we'll just have LNAV and VNAV engaged. We'll drop down the altitude down to our minimums. So I'll drop that down to around 700 feet. And then by that time, we should be disconnected before we reach the minimum call out. And that is us pretty much ready to go. 737 is a really nice aircraft to fly. I have enjoyed flying it on X-Plane 11 and Microsoft Flight Simulator. Both sims, with the X-Plane, obviously the physics are a lot more better than Microsoft Flight Simulator, as we know when we had the fly-by-wire with the 320. But for the views, you can't fault the views down on Microsoft Flight Simulator. They really are something. And when you spend hours upon hours downloading ortho scenery just to do one flight, it does take you back just a little bit. So we get the terrain on as well. We'll ride through. So we might do Naples to Corfu tonight, which would be a nice flight. As we're now reaching 230, the aircraft's going to go into a left-hand bank, and from that left-hand bank we're then going to proceed on as we leave the coast and come into Cologne Bonn. Weather doesn't seem to be too bad. We're going to switch off the fasten seatbelt signs. Fuel pumps for the centre starting to run dry, as we can see. So I'm going to switch off the centre pumps. And for the fuel down on the arrival, so fuel quantity should have 5.8 by the time we come down on to 32 right, sorry. So 0.64, we could probably speed up just a little more. So we could probably do 0.78 to ride us in. The aircraft will start to speed up now, so we can get there just a little bit quicker. Burn off a little bit more fuel, but we should get there a little bit more quicker. So I would have got the 600, but I'm only really with the 800, to be honest. That's the aircraft that I fly. So the 700 I'll fly at a push, because obviously it's the first one that come out from PMDG, but with the 600 I'm not going to bother, as I don't really, even though it's $35, I don't think really, if you've got the 700, the performance power on the 700 is static. Even a takeoff one, the aircraft's rocketing out, and we're nearly at full max takeoff weight. It was at 63, and we've got around 70.3 tons max. So it was one of them ones where even a takeoff one was just about doing it for our V2 climb. So after takeoff checklist, we've done, got the climb out, CMDA, which is engaged, which is checked, altimeter is set to standard 1013, passing 10,000 feet, landing lights are off, fasten seatbelt signs are off, center fuel pumps are off, and for the cruise, engine instruments will monitor, fuel quantity will check, lights as required, and then before our top descent we get the ATIS information, the altimeters, radios, which will check in and reset the MCP altitude. So there's us going over onto that left-hand turn. Have some lovely cloud coverage as we leave lovely UK. It was raining down in Manchester just before we set up to go. You can see we've got some wing flex on the aircraft. With the Phoenix, it has some lovely wing flex. The wing textures on the Phoenix are absolutely lovely. You can see as we're just passing overhead on an airport. You can see right there, we're just passing over. So 230, which is in, we're literally right max there on for overspeed, which is Mach decimal 7.8 we want to be doing. So I'm going to stay there, Mach decimal 7.6, which we'll keep in. That'll keep us below our overspeed, and that'll be us literally at our max. Off the progress, top of descent 335 nautical miles, wind currently is 233 at 5.9. +4, get the engine anti-ice on. checked. With the engine anti-ice, it will give you a higher N1 thrust, around 2 to 3 N1%. So always take that into consideration when you're coming down on your descent, and especially if you had a tailwind coming down, as anti-ice is going to give you around 3% N1 extra. So we're at 230 now, the aircraft's doing a fine job. A little bit bumpy. See the wings going crazy as they come through. And that is pretty much it. If you want to see me fly in the USA, etc., then do let me know, guys. Apart from that, Manchester to Cologne Bonn. Here we come. Currently 7 nautical miles till we get to Pigsup. Then we're taking our right hand turn, which is then going to be a complete straight line pretty much until we come down onto the arrival. And the arrival is pretty much straightforward from Cologne. As we come in, we'll hit Depok, come round, spin onto that left, go all the way to Rarix. Rarix is going to be the start of the descent. And as we come in, so from Rarix, that's will be at 3,000 feet, start the descent down, follow it down LNAV and VNAV, and that will be the RNAV approach. VOR approach pretty much run the same way, the LNAV and VNAV. The ILS with the approach, the glide slopes out, always you'd use vertical speed, or you could run it down in VNAV profile. So there are many ways. With the Airbus it's quite nice because everything's basically mainly done on the approach. And if you're doing obviously the non-precisions, then you'd hit the track and FPA for the flight path angle, and let the aircraft set that down for whatever angle that you're coming down in. So I don't know what's been done on the new update for the PMDG. I did put it in just before this flight came, so I don't know what has been changed. I haven't exactly had a look, but the aircraft's quite nice. I see the 600 comes with the head-up display, which drops down. Never really was a big fan of that, to be honest. I'd rather have a full clear view of what's going on than having a big monitor of glass looking right in front of you, you know. But the stream seems to be going okay. Doesn't seem to be going too bad. Probably tighten up the bit rate maybe a little more. But apart from that, the stream seems to be running smooth. So we're now on VNAV path, so as we're level now, we'll come through. At a later date, I'll show you guys if you're coming down like for an RNAV approach and you're too high on the vertical deviation. I'll show you guys how you can recapture the VNAV profile by basically descending the aircraft and re-engaging VNAV, which will then set you back for VNAV path. Anytime VNAV speed is in, then the aircraft's following the speed, it's not following the altitude for the path. When you see VNAV path, it's following its vertical deviation path, etc. When you see VNAV speed, then the aircraft's following the speed which is set on the restraint, and it will descend basically accordingly, just like level change pretty much. So coming in for the RNAV, you'd need to be down and ready, as we'd need to be back into LNAV and VNAV ready to come down on the approach. Take a look outside, the clouds, a little bit of cloud coverage. Apart from that, looks very nice. Got a little bit of wing flex. There's not really much else going on as of now. There's just bare on that left hand turn. Now the aircraft's going to go, so we increase the speed, Mach decimal 7.6. A little bit bumpy, but the approach should be really nice. That should be something to look out for. What we can also do is we're going to get the Cologne Bonn's VORs in. I'm going to use them to reference. So the 11215. and 112, 15, initial switch in. Yeah, we can see we've got NVO as we come in and then take that left-hand turn. We're going in for RARX. So we'll see if there is November Victor Mike. Let's have a little look. Okay, so we'll get in at November Victor Oscar. Recheck down the flight plan. So as you can see, that is the route that we're going to ride into. Looks a little bit wonky, so depot, so we don't really even need the transition, so we can take that off. And Cole's going to roll us down to Delta 55. That's where we're going to come in for RARX. Okay. So that's pretty much us. I'll tighten up the FMC in just a minute. 27 nautical miles to begin. So 605 to the 655. Okay, that'll keep the approach back on, so we don't need the transition anyway. Lovely wing flex. I wouldn't say the wing flex beats the Phoenix. But tonight we will be flying live again this evening, guys, so do be sure to stay tuned for that. So our final left before we head to Depot. It's a direct straight line all the way around. Then we'll hit that left, and then we'll get ready for the Arnav approach. So yeah, do join me tonight, guys, this evening. Live chat will be on, just testing the live stream, so I'm not going to be able to really look at too much going on. As I'm going to just sort a few things out. Just want to make sure the bit rate's fine and everything. And then tonight we'll be doing Naples to Corfu, which should be a nice arrival. Get some lovely views as well with Microsoft Flight Simulator. I didn't really like it at first, as didn't think it was all that, to be honest, and kept getting the horrible stutter that comes down on touchdown. I did actually rectify that. That was actually something to do with the SSD, as I had it down on a HDD drive. So what I did was upgraded the SSD, and now there is no more stutter on touchdown. So that is another fault that has been rectified. But if you guys are looking to buy the 600, personally I would just stay with the 700 and wait until the 800 comes out. The 800, when that comes out, that is going to be something to fly. 600, not really too interested on the 600, as the engine's just so overpowered. It's and we don't have no flex temps or anything, no EFB. So unless you've got one and you've got the flex temps, then I've got Top Cat, which gives us flex temps, etc. But I'm not going to use it on the 700. Wait until the 800 comes out, and then we can have some fun. Just leaving the coast now as we leave out of the UK, ready to fly into lovely Cologne Bonn. And yeah, do join us this evening. We'll be here this evening around 7:30. This evening we'll be here, and we'll be doing our Naples to Corfu. Live chat will be on, so I can interact with you guys. This is just a test stream, just to see how the aircraft and the stream performs, as I don't have a second monitor to monitor chat, etc. I have to keep looking backwards and forwards on my phone, so I'm just keeping this down as a test flight, so we can see exactly how it goes. Probably put the bit rate up a little bit more. See, the aircraft's a little bit choppy as we come in. Going to be coming down now to Lavery. Top of descent is all the way down near to the approach. There's our top descent at Depok, and then that's where we're going to ride it down. So we're only at 230, so we're not very high at all. 5 nautical miles to Lavery, as we get some lovely views of that coast as we leave the UK. I just thought I'd do some live streams now, get the live streams up and running for you guys. It's doing the recordings, processing and rendering, etc. I feel like I owe you guys that, to do live streams so we can all fly together and it's not just us watching the premieres. So tonight we will be back around 7:30 this evening. We'll be doing Naples to Corfu, or we'll be doing Corfu to Naples. Either one, I'll leave a community post so you guys can vote for what you'd like. As you see, the aircraft's getting a little bit choppy as we just leave out onto the ocean. So yeah, stick around, enjoy the flight, and get ready for the RNAV approach into 3-2 right. Do enjoy the 737, flown around about 3,000 hours in the 737-800, and give or take a little bit with the 7. The 600 doesn't really have a lot of liveries. I know SAS has the 600 on the liveries. 700's got more livery options. It's not a bad price, $35. It's probably about £20. But if you've got the 700, it's sort of in the middle anyway, so I wouldn't really see much point in getting the 600 unless you really like the 600. Then yeah, definitely grab it. But for myself, I think I'm going to wait until we get the 800. Then once we get the 800 on board, then we'll be ready to go. So we still haven't left the whole of the UK yet. See, as we come down, I do like this, the views, the scenic views of Microsoft Flight Simulator. When you've been downloading probably a good couple of thousand hours of orthos for X-Plane 11, this really does take the workload off, as you can just get straight into the sim and focus more on preparing the aircraft, setting it up and enjoying flying. As orthos do take a little while to download, so they're not just straight out the box like this. Then we are running ultra settings as well, which does sort of add to the sort of realism aspect. With the shadowing, haven't really done too much on the shadowing parts, where you can see it's just a little bit fuzzy. But we're just leaving off the coast as we say bye-bye to the UK. So definitely don't forget to like and subscribe, guys, and I will be back at 7:30 this evening for our flight. I'll leave a community post for either Corfu to Naples or Naples to Corfu, and then we'll be back. Live chat will be on. It's just a test stream, just want to see how things go with the live stream, as we're just doing a few different settings on Streamlabs. So there's the open ocean. 230, low altitude, not very high at all, as that's what the flight plan had for us. So we'll stay for 230 all the way. We increase our speed, 0.76 on the Mac, which is just below our overspeed. There's another left-hand turn, and onto the ocean we go. One thing I think could be better is probably the wing flex on the PMDG could probably be a little bit more smoother. The Phoenix has got the wing flex and the wing textures bang on. That's a really lovely aircraft to fly, and I don't really like the Airbuses too much, but when you're flying the 737 or the Boeings quite a bit, it's nice to switch it up and to have a nice A320 in the simulator, and you haven't got to rely on like fly-by-wire. Then it is a nice aircraft, definitely. One thing I like about the Airbus is the auto trim. You haven't got to worry about the trim. It's a bit weird coming down on the auto throttle, as I'm used to having the manual throttle and the auto throttle disengaged, and then control your descent rate with the throttle input. So we're now reaching down to Cologne, which is 15 nautical miles. Another way you can work out your descent, which is when we used to do the 737-700. So we've got our ground speed, which is 502. If we was going to basically come down, you can work out your speed, so 501 knots per hour. Times that by 5, so that'd be 2,500 feet per minute you'd come down at. And then from the distance, we're at 230, so we would need 23 times by 3, which would be 69 plus 10, which would be 79. So by 79 nautical miles out, we should be starting our descent. Not too far to go now, 187 till top of descent. Left the UK, as we just left now on the borders. Got some lovely clouds as we get out onto the ocean. Fuel checks, we've got 5.2, it's only going to burn off another 1.5 tons. You see the throttle's just going a little bit statty, just get the aircraft all in. So we've got ground speed of 501, true airspeed 469, 46 knot winds coming from the back right of the aircraft. And like I say, with the engine anti-ice, it's going to give you an extra 2 to 3% N1. So, just an example to show you. I can show you when we come down on the descent as well. So, as you can see, TIs are lit up. Now, the aircraft's just, with its throttles management, it's just going over everything. So let's just say we're around 88 to 89%. If I switch off the anti-ice right now, we can see that it's going to drop now. The M1's going to drop, but it's more chance. I'll show you when we're on the descent. That's where you're going to see the performance increase. So that's why when you're managing your descent coming down, the aircraft asks down in its forecast with the anti-ice on or off, which basically I'm going to leave. So I'm going to set this all up just now quickly, so we've got all the weather and that in, so the aircraft knows what's going on. The transition coming in, it's going to be 5,000. Okay, which is going to be set. We're going to do our winds and weather. So that's all done as well. 230. So I'm going to put in 150, 100, and 5000. 150's got 235024. 237 at 18. And the wind's down, which we can change and alter for Cologne Bonn. 310 at 9. This just gives the aircraft a heads up. It'll recalculate its top of descent as well. So we're just going to pass over Amsterdam. Now top descent is going to be literally just near to depot for our arrival. So we're not too far away. Once we hit the Lima November Oscar, we'll then be all set in. We've got the VORs as well on the flight plan, which you can also check out. So we've got Koski, which we left Dover, we left Koski. Lima November Oscar, 112.8. Okay, which is right there. As we get a little bit further, then see it pop up. As we're going to be doing the RNAV approach in for 32 right. So 230, quite a low altitude. I would have gone up to around 300, 310. But the flight plan said 230, so I'm just going to leave it at 230. If it was Amsterdam, I would have left it at 230. Coming in for Redfur, you need to be below 230 anyway, if it was coming into Amsterdam. So for the Redfur arrival, it would be 230 below. Once we come down, so obviously it's just a quick hop straight across the borders. Top descent times, we've got our winds, etc. all in. I'm not going to check the ISO and everything. Got 152 nautical miles to our top of descent, 44 knot winds, which we can clarify 226 at 44. And 151 for our top of descent. So if we get it all in, got a distance to go, 229, 27 and 23 till we get to Mac. Around 79 nautical miles from our fix for Rarix, which is going to be 3,000 feet, so takeoff 20, 40, 60 plus 10, so 70 nautical miles is where we need to be coming down for the descent onto runway 32 right. Hopefully the Microsoft brings in some classics like the 727 or the 747-200, so we can use the INS and go VOR to VOR navigation, because that's really nice. I do enjoy that. It's more active, you're more productive in the cockpit when doing them flights. It keeps you on your toes, lots of checklists, lots of calculations to do. With the 737, it's a lot more manually operated than the Airbus. You know, we don't have to get figures, we don't have to get VORs, we don't need to get the ILS frequencies, etc. The Airbus has already got that already programmed for us. All we hit is the landed system button and up the ILS pops. Whereas with the 737 things are a lot more different. We haven't got a multi-mode receiver. I'm not sure if there is an option for that. We've just got the standard nabs. Got Lima November Oscar VOR in, which is the 112.8. Just going to double check that. 112.8, which is correct. Should be going in 0.67. We've speeded up the aircraft. What I'll probably do is just before we get down into descent, I'll probably slow the aircraft down. So as we come over, lovely Amsterdam, Netherlands, and France. Quite a lot of cloud coverage over on this end. Been a little bit choppy, 40 knot winds. Tell the cabin to be prepared. Now with the weather radar, for some reason I can't get the weather radar to work on this aircraft, so not really sure why. Lovely day for flying though. Live weather's in. Doesn't look too bad here. Let's check the METARs. In for Cologne Bonn. 310 at 9 still. QNH is a 1012, which will set down. I've just checked. And we're following the VNAV path all the way down until we get to the arrival. So if it was a case where you was using VATSIM, ATC told you to descend a little bit earlier than need be, then you'd come out of VNAV path, you'd go into VNAV speed, or depending you'd hit level change. But if we needed to get back on profile to use the VNAV path for the RNAV approach, and we use level change to come down, let's say it was at 230 now, we was told to descend down to 17,000, and we need to get back on profiles, we need to use LNAV and VNAV for the approach. We would need to make sure that the vertical deviation, we're back in par with the profile. If we're not, then the aircraft will stay in VNAV speed, it will follow the speed on the left hand side of the speed tape, and it will act like a level change till it maintains that speed. Once we get down into the VNAV profile and we're bang on back with the deviation, we could re-engage VNAV, and then VNAV path will come back in, and the aircraft then will take full control of its vertical descent down. There's our top of descent, which is just coming in within reach. We've got LNO, and then we're going to start that descent down onto the runway. So I need to make sure that we are 79 nautical miles, just around, before we start our descending. So take a look at the breathtaking views outside, guys. Jet 2 holidays. So this is the old livery for Jet 2. Haven't got the Jet 2 livery for the silver. I thought I'd use the old school one. Once we get to Lima November Oscar, we're then going to start that descent. As you can see, Lima November Oscar. On for the steps. Then we take that left hand turn to Cannon, and then we'll take a right back to Depok. Depok, start the descent down, 223, so we need around 70 nautical miles before we get here, so 20, 30, 50, 60, 70, and then there's an extra 15 or so for 3,000. So the aircraft will follow its flight path, and it should be bang on profile for the approach. Sure the passengers aren't appreciating the choppiness. That's not too bad. I might set the manual weather tonight into a thunderstorm. Depending, we'll see. So decimal 76, just got a straight line to navigate to, then we'll take that left to right, and then we're going to be back on for the approach. For the LNO. LNO is going to take us in on the radial. Currently on the 108. 105. So as I say guys, don't forget to join us this evening when we do our proper live stream. Chat will be there so you guys can interact. You see with the Lima November Oscar VOR. Just coming through some cloud coverage right now. In approximately, as we got down, approximately top descent 81 nautical miles to go. So we're going to be starting our descent around 80 nautical miles. Then we'll get the aircraft fully configured, ready to come in. A little bit choppy, winds are starting to come in, you can see the clouds are starting to lift. So approaching Lima November Oscar, we now take that left hand turn onto the 065, so we'll bug in the 065, that way if anything happens to the LNAV etc, or we give them vectors, then we've got the head and select already in, ready to go, so it doesn't waste too much time. Just approaching near to our top of descent now. Then we'll start going through our checklist to get the aircraft fully prepared, ready to come in. 15 nautical miles to Lima November Oscar. A little bit choppy, but not too choppy. 310 at 9 on the winds, they haven't changed. 1012 is going to be the QNH coming in. We're going to take that left hand turn, which will take us onto the 065, leaving out off of Lima November Oscar. We switch back over the VORs. Lima November Oscar, we're going to leave now. Transitions 5000, which we've got set down on the forecast wind. And it should be a lovely approach. So we'll go over the approach as we're just bearing near to it. So we've got Depok. We're going to be coming down from Depok onto the 106, which will be just under 20 nautical miles. Once we hit the Delta Kilo 694, we'll take a right hand turn onto the 136, which we'll just double check. So we've got the 694, which will be down onto the 105. Then we've got the 135, which will take us down all the way to the Delta Kilo 690. Once we get down to the 690, we'll then take a 045 turn, which takes us to the 650, then a 315, which is going to backtrack us all the way down to Rarix, which then is our arrival. 8.4 nautical miles, which we can confirm is down and in where we start the descent. 8.3, we've got 8.4. Glide path 2.97 for 3 degree glide path. We'll get our approach speeds and everything on the descent. 673 coming in for a 371 decision height, plus 50, which give us 723 as we're 50 feet above, so we don't go under our minimums. And if we get the identifier coming up on the PFD right here, as it does go in there on the Zebo mod, haven't seen it on the PMDG as of yet, but with the identifier we can then run down onto our DME references, 7 DME 2590, 6 DME 2270, 5 DME 1950, and so on all the way down. Missed approach point at decision altitude for the LPV, LNAV, VNAV. LNAV, if we were just doing LNAV, then we would run it down with vertical speed. Tracking the 6.6, we're going to take a right hand turn and then we're going to start that descent down, guys, and that's when the fun starts to begin. And I'll also show you what happens, because the throttles will be idle. I'll show you what happens with the anti-ice, where you if you've got the anti-ice on coming down through the descent, then you're going to be getting around about 3 to 4% N1 extra on the throttle quadrants. When you turn them off, obviously you'll lose that and go back, so depending if you had a tailwind, etc., it's going to be a little bit harder to slow the aircraft down, but I will show you that once we get on top of descent. And at a later date, as I said, I'll show you the VNAV path with the vertical deviation, how to get back into VNAV path if you lose the vertical profile. You just basically come down into descent. Once you get back into the vertical deviation, then we can re-engage at LNAV and VNAV, sorry, and then the aircraft will go back into its VNAV profile. So we're going to get into that right hand turn, which is then going to take us ready for Polat, then to Kenham. So we're going to be taking the 069. Okay, 069, tell the cabin to start doing their rounds as the top of descent is just within reach. There's our top of descent. Calculate it out, we need around 70 nautical miles for the descent. .21 nautical miles to go. .25 to Depok. Then we'll calculate our arrival speeds, etc. So top of descent is just around 15 nautical miles. Reset the MCP altitude down to 3,000 feet. Then just before we go into our descent for the RNAV approach, we'll drop that down to our minimums, we'll drop that down to 700. nautical miles to go. Cruise decimal 69, which it originally was at. So let's get ready to come in to a lovely Cologne Bonn. Get our descent checklist and everything all in. go through all of that for the approach. So we get the ASUS information for Cologne Bonn. Recheck that one more time. Winds are 310 at 9 still, haven't changed. 1012 for the QNH. Temperature's 3.5 and 25% humidity. Visibility 10 kilometers or more. No clouds below 1500 meters. We need around 1000 meters RVR, required visual range, which is fine. 12 degrees on the dew point. So we don't need to update the forecast. There's top of descent. You're going to see the vertical deviation now just come up on the side here, and the aircraft's going to start its descent down to 3,000 feet. Once we hit 3,000 feet, which is set on the MCP altitude, we'll then drop down to 700 feet, which will be our minimums. So we've got 723, sorry, which is going to be plus 50. So 673 plus 50, which is 723. There's a retard in for the throttles, which will go back to idle. Now the aircraft's going to start to descend, following the vertical navigation or the vertical deviation path as we now come down. So now the aircraft is at idle pretty much. I'm going to show you basically what the engine anti-ice will do. So let's say we're at 41.1% idle. If I switch off the anti-ice, you're going to see that the idle speed is going to decrease by around 2 to 3% N1. So that's why the forecast asks for that when planning the descent, as 2 to 3% will make a hell of a difference as we descend down if you've got tailwinds, etc. So always bear that in mind, and that's why the anti-ice is asked when you're on the forecast page right here. It says TA on or off. So 3,000 feet coming down, just starting that descent. We're going to go onto a right hand turn. We're now tracking in for the 110. Okay, which is checked. The VORs are in 12.9 DME. Now I don't know why the indicator for the RNAV doesn't appear. It used to in the Ziba mod, but it doesn't in the PMDG. Not sure why. So just passing through 200. Seatbelt signs are on. Tell the cabin to get ready. Go through our descent checklist. So our altimeter is going to be checked over 5,000 feet for 1012, which will be set and checked. ASUS information is already set. Radios are also set in, which are 11215 for the VORs, which is just going to be just for reference. We've reset the MCP altitude for 3,000 feet. FMC approach speed rev, which we're going to get checked in as well. So we'll go into progress 52 to 55, which is 0.3, so 59.9. Coming flaps 30, 139, as it's 9 knots, under 10, so we'll just leave it as 5. So plus 5 on the wind correction, and that is our VREV. So VREV 30 plus 5, which gives us 140. So approach speed rev is also set and checked. Coming in for the RNAV approach, we don't need the localizer on let's cause frequency. On for the descent, we've got the anti-ice, which is on for now. Landing altitude, which is checked for 300, which is set and cross-checked. Recall, which is clear. Auto brake set for number 2. Then the altimeter's passing transition altitude, which will be set to a local, which will be 1012. Under 10,000 feet, we got landing lights on, speed 250, passenger signs, which will be on as well. So that is the descent checklist already in and set. And don't forget to join me this evening, guys. 7:30. We will be live. Live chat will be on. I can interact with you guys. This was just a test stream, just to make sure that everything's running fine and correct. As I feel I owe that to you guys, as all we do is premieres. So we'll get back into the seat and fly our live tonight. We'll be doing Naples to Corfu or Corfu to Naples. After this flight, I will be putting a community post up where you guys can vote for either Naples to Corfu or Corfu to Naples. Naples is actually really nice. Flew the Phoenix A320 last night down for a few approaches, and it was actually really nice to fly. So as you can see, plus 9 now. Switch off the anti-ice, that'll give us a little bit more or less as we go from 40 probably down to around 37%. Pass through 15,000 feet, we're going to swing around and then we'll go inbound. 5,000, switch QNHs over, and then we'll be ready to come in. Thought we'd do an RNAV approach, so we're always doing the ILSs. Okay, there's a track to 138 now. 3,000 set on the MCP altitude. As we get near to RARIX, then we'll drop down to 700 and the aircraft will automatically start the descent down on the 3-degree glide path. Weather looks nice and clear now. It's passing 14,000 feet. Could use a little bit of drag, but we'll leave it there for now until we get down. And the thing you need to notice as well, the faster we're going with the VNAV profile, the more the aircraft is going to descend. I don't really want to open up the speed brakes. I'm not sure if that is the armed. It should be armed. There we go. Okay, so what I'm also going to do is I'm going to get the flight recorder system up so you guys can see the arrival and get some nice shots of that as well. Okay. Plug that in. That'll pause for just a few seconds as the flight recorder replay gets ready to go. Passing 10,000 feet, about 12,000, get the engine start switch to continuous. Putting the cabin, let them know that we are ready to go. Auto brake set for number 2. VREV 30 plus 5 is going to be 140 coming down on the approach. And our missed approach is going to be for our minimums. So there's a left hand turn now, backtracking it down onto 315, 25 degrees of bank. Which is checked. You probably see the aircraft go back into VNAV speed to drop down to 250, and then it will go back down into VNAV path. Okay, so we're just passing through 10,000 feet and the speed brake's open. There's our decel. Decel is going to take us down 140 as it'll be fully configured to come in on the approach. So we'll get the aircraft fully configured before we come down onto that descent profile. 240, which can stay in. Okay, speed brake's armed. Still following the VNAV path. So let's hope we can do it. I've got the flight recorder replay system in as well, so we'll be able to see the arrival. I've seen that there's a different flight recorder called Sky Dolly, so been meaning to test it out, saw it last night, so when I've got some spare time I will check that out as well. 1012, which is going to be coming in, 1012 and 1012, which is checked. That'll be passing 5,000 feet. Aircraft's going to start to decel by RARIX, will be fully configured and get all our flaps in and ready to come in for the approach, guys. So enjoy the arrival. Passing 10,000 feet now, landing lights, runway tunnel flights, cabin can be advised, take your seats, do your final call-outs. 315 coming in on the courses. About 3 nautical miles away from RTX, we'll then drop the MCP altitude down to 700. So with the decel, we'll probably jump out of VNAV speed, but we'll go back into path just before we get down. So there's RTX 3,000 feet. See what the wind's, it's only about 10 knots, so it's not too bad. They start to come down, so let's just get up. Let's have a look at the charts. RTX 3,316. Just coming in, that's going to be 8.3 DME. There's a decel, so the aircraft will level off, should come out of VNAV speed. Little choppy, you can see the runway in sight just from a distance. There's a decel. Go to our flaps up. RTX is right there. You'll see the speed tape now slowly start to move down to our flaps up speed. 10 nautical miles to go. So for the approach checklist, 5000, switch QNH is back over, 1012, which are set and cross-checked. RNAV approach, which is configured, set. 11215, we've got the VORs in just for reference, 17.3. As we slow down now, we're going to go into flaps 5. Three nautical miles from RTX will then drop down to 700 feet, which will then allow the aircraft to continue down onto the RNAV approach. Okay, flaps 5, which is in. Go down to flaps 10. If we need more drag, we can drop the gear. Flaps 10, which is engaged. Okay, flaps 15, gear down. 3 nautical miles to go now, we'll drop down to 7,700 feet, which is checked. Okay, gear down, 3 green. Now we hit flaps 30. Okay, that's going to be our 140. Okay, 1.2 nautical miles to go from RTX. Okay, there's VNAV path now, the aircraft's going to go down, it's a 3-degree glide path, and we're now going to start the descent for the RNAV approach. So, landing checklist, gears down, green lights, flaps 30, which are set. Auto brake set for number 2. Landing lights, cabin has been advised, engine start switch to continuous, packs are auto, bleeds are on, speed brakes armed, and we are fully established for the RNAV approach. 140, which is going to give us down on our speed for the descent, which we can use. 2,500 feet checked. We can use the descent speed as well when we come down. So for the RNAV, 140 will be 750, so 750 feet per minute. Edge passed in 2004. A few little gusts, around 13 knots. $700 feet, just need to check the minimum, which was the call out. $723, which is in and checked. Okay, there's the outer marker. See, there's runway in sight. $750 a minute, which should bang on for the descent. So let's do a bit of manual flying and see what we can do. So, autopilot. Auto throttles are disengaged.
1,000.
Now I have controlled the aircraft. Around 750 per minute.
Approaching minimums. 400. Minimums.
Continue.
300. 200. 100. 50. 30, 20, 10.
Okay, speed brakes are up. And reverses are active. Full pressure on the column. $80 knots, reversers can be stowed. $60 knots, manual braking. And welcome to Cologne Bonn, guys. So I've got the flight recorder replay in as well, so we can have an outside view and see what actually happened on the touchdown. And there we are. So we'll start to come off now. So don't forget, we'll be doing Naples tonight, 7:30. I'll leave the community post so you guys can vote from now until later on this evening for when we do that flight. So just as we go over the hold short, get the aircraft fully configured. So flaps can be fully tracted, speed brake can be turned and back on, landing lights, runway turn off lights, taxis, strobes can go to steady. And welcome to Cologne Bonn. Get the APU all started. Engine start switches can go back off. And now we'll taxi to the stand. So we'll have a look at the landing in just a moment, see how that was. Since getting the Phoenix, been having quite a good go with the Phoenix. I've been used to the auto throttle, taking control of everything, so I'm just going to park up somewhere so we can have a look and see what happens. Okay, so we'll sort the aircraft out now, turn the auto brakes off. APU's just firing up now. It was a nice fight, wasn't a bad one. But we just missed the touchdown mark on just a little bit. So we'll just jump into one of these gates and then we'll get the flight recorder in and we'll take a look at it. And there is Jet2 Holidays down from Manchester to Cologne Bonn, guys. I don't know what airline I'm going to fly tonight, but it will be a real world airline for the Naples Corfu. Naples approach is really nice. That was a very nice approach with the mountain as well, just coming over. I think it's the back of 2-3. Probably coming for the 06 approach, depending on what the wind's saying when we do come. Apart from that, APU's ready, so we'll switch that over. There's the APU switched. We'll just jump into one of these gates here, not really too fast on what gate we jump into. And then we'll set the flight recorder up and we'll have a look and see what the landing was like. But yeah, join me this evening, 7:30, chat up beyond, we can interact. This is just a test stream just to make sure, as I feel that's what I owe you guys, seeing as we're always doing premieres. So tonight we will be live, doing it for real. Any mess ups, then we'll see. Okay, so I'm going to jump right there. As he goes right through us, I'll just jump here, we'll park her up and get ready to go. Okay.
Pushback complete. Parking brake set.
Don't know what he's saying. For some reason the parking brake don't work for some reason. So, don't know what that's all about. But, anywho's, let's go and see what the landing was saying.
Steering pin is pulled. Watch for the salute and release from guidance on your right. Have a good flight.
So let's just find that. Get the landing all in. Okay, so we'll stop the recording. Load that up. So the 4th. Okay, so let's try and find that. Okay. There it is. There's the 4th. So open that up. So let's go and get some views of lovely Cologne Bonn. Now I've got my throttle set up for the zoom and everything when I was trying to do some plane spotting, but it didn't exactly go to plan, so I haven't changed that back yet. Let's get some lovely views of the arrival. Okay, that'll do about there. For some reason the gear and everything goes a little bit funny for some reason. Not sure why. You've got to kind of keep putting it back so the gear comes out. It's really funny, this one, with the flight recorder replay. So So let's just push that back, do that. It does act up quite a bit. Okay, so we got the gear down. Should pop it in. So I don't know if Sky Dolly does that, but for some reason the gear just goes really weird. Like you can see, look, it'll open up now. But if we drop it a little further, it'll just jump in. So let's just leave it there, see what happens. Down she comes. Okay, so that was pretty much the arrival, guys, down into Cologne Bonn. I hope you guys enjoyed the flight. I'll see you this evening, 7:30, when we take her off to Naples or Corfu. I'm going to leave it down for the community post, so make sure you guys do have a look at that as well and vote for which flight you'd like to see, either Naples to Corfu or Corfu to Naples. So I will see you this evening. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks to everybody who tuned in today, and I will see you this evening ready for our flight over to Corfu or Naples. So take care, guys, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye bye.